Alright guys, my name is Reed and today we're going to be showing you how to change a flat tire. So if you're driving, you get a flat, don't worry, especially if this is your first time. It's super simple. Just pull into a safe area. Okay, now that you've pulled into a safe area, your parking brake is set. There's also, if your car has a handbrake, it could be right here. So you're just going to pull it up, push the button, pull it up, right? And then after you do all that and your car is fully stationary, parking brake is on, you're going to push your hazards. That way they flash to let others know that there's a hazard going on. Alright, so it was a little too windy to understand what I was saying here, but you're going to want to go to your owner's manual at first to see where your spare tire could be located. Now that you've located where your spare tire is, for me, it is in my trunk. Usually there's going to be something holding it down that just keeps it from, rattling around. So this piece that was holding it down, you just set it off to the side. And then now you're going to lift up your tire. It might be heavy if it's a full spare. I don't have a full spare. This is a donut. It's a donut because it's small, and that's what. Before you put it on your car, make sure that this tire is also not flat. So if it bounces, you're usually pretty good. Society refers to it as. Leaving it like this can be really problematic. So what you want to do is lay it down like that. That way it doesn't go anywhere. And now you're going to come back to your trunk, wherever your spare is, and you're going to take your equipment out. So this is a jack. This is what's going to lift up the car. So we're going to hold that. Alright, so this next tool is our wrench. This is what we're going to use to raise the jack up and down, and also tighten and loosen our lug nuts, and it should also be in the same place as your jack. What we're going to do here is, before you lift your car off the ground, you're going to loosen your lug nuts, but you don't want to take them off of the car. You just want them to be loose enough so that whenever you do jack up the car, it's just faster and easier to take off. Okay, so before you start putting it underneath your car, the smaller part with the little hooks right here, this is what's gonna actually touch your car. This is what's gonna be on the ground, right? So you're gonna wanna lower the jack to where it's gonna fit under your car. Here I'm actually lowering it all the way down, but you don't have to do that. You can just lower it to where it'll fit underneath your car and then go from there. But you want to make sure that the knob that you turn the jack with, like that makes it go up and down, is sticking out of the car instead of going in the car. That way you're actually able to use the jack. And then you also want to make sure that the flat part is higher than the hooks, because the hooks are what's going to actually come in contact with the frame. So I didn't get a clip of where the jack should go, but if you look underneath your car, and usually you can figure out where the spot is super quick here. But here you can see, this is why you don't really want to lower it all the way down, because then you're going to have to like play match. And so if you just lower it enough to get it underneath your car, you should be good to go. But you're going to crank it up to where your car is just a couple inches off the ground, enough for you to take the tire off. Technically 4 to 6 inches is what's recommended, but once your tire starts wiggling and you have enough room to pull it off of the axle, you should be fine. So I also do want to make note here that this is probably going to take a while. So I sped it up here, but it's going to take a while, so be patient. So by now, and you don't really need the leverage anymore, so you can just have it straight out. And then you should be able to take the nuts out like that. So now, with all of them off, it can be easy for them to just roll away. So the best thing for you to do is just throw them in your pocket. If you don't have pockets with what you're wearing, you can put them like inside on your cup holder, but just somewhere to where they're not at risk of rolling away. Because if they roll away, like that. So now you're noticing that the tire is like almost dying to come off, right? Just kind of put your thumb against it. Alright, so now you're ready to take the flat off of the axle. It could be heavy depending on what car you drive. For me, this part wasn't challenging, you just kind of gotta slide it on off. And then make sure you lay it down instead of leaving it standing up like that. Again, because we don't want it to roll away like what happened here. So make sure that it's down flat. And then you're going to take your donut. Make sure that the hollow side is the one that's going like towards the car. And you're going to put it, and then you're going to lift it to where the bolts align with the holes, right? Not super difficult. And then now, so here I'm just putting the nuts on and just kind of screwing them on with my hand before I go get the wrench and actually tighten them on. Because once you tighten them on, we're actually going to have to pay attention to what order we do. So we're going to go in kind of a star pattern. So I'll put that. This is the star pattern, so you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the order that you're going to want to tighten them in. And you're going to want to tighten them pretty tight. I wouldn't say like immovably tight before you put down your car. And then once you lower your car, that's when you really want to like push on them and make sure that they're really on there. But again, each time that you're tightening them, make sure that you're following the star pattern. That way there's even pressure on the tire and it's not wobbly, and you're safer driving on it. We're going to come back to our jack and we're going to start lowering the car.
Cut.
Alright, so now that your car is lowered, we are going to go back to our star pattern to really make sure that those nuts are on tight. Again, just to make sure that the tire isn't wobbling or doing anything it's not supposed to do while we're driving, because that creates a hazard for both you and the other drivers around you.
Go.
Alright, so now that you've changed the tire, it's on there. You're going to head to your nearest tire center to get it repaired, because you really don't want to drive for a long distance on this, and you also don't want to exceed about 50 miles an hour.